Hello and welcome to this session entitled Using Games to Increase Learning in the Primary Classroom. This is a recording for those of you who may not have made it to the live session. And so just to make you aware of something you will see throughout this recording, in the bottom right-hand corner of some slides, you may see press pause and think, or press pause and write. When you see this, I'll invite you to press pause and think about the task that's on the screen. This will allow you to explore your own classroom practice and to make connections between what you're reading and what you already do. And this will help you to make decisions about what you might do in the future with these techniques. So get ready and keep an eye open for those icons. Okay, let's get started. So here's a short session overview. We're going to think in the lead-in about why games are important for teaching English to primary children. And in the main content, we'll explore two ideas. One is what makes a game useful for language learning, and we'll also explore some useful games from the grade 4 curriculum and think about their learning purpose. In the application section, we'll think about the preparation that learners will need to be able to play the game with the target language. And we'll also think about some useful language for playing the game. And then we'll do a little reflection. There'll be some time for you to think about what you'll take away from this session. So let's get started. So now I'll invite you to press pause and think about these 5 questions. These 5 statements. Do you agree? Yes. Or do you disagree? No. Okay, let's look at some answers. Maybe you wrote yes, that games can make learning English interesting for children. And I think that is true. Games are for fun at the end of the session. No. They can be fun, but they're not only fun. And they're not for the end of the lesson, really. They're for the middle of the lesson to help learners remember and practice new language. So number 3 is a big yes. Games can really help children to remember and practice new language. Of course, yes to number 4. Games can increase the energy and children can be noisy. So this is something to remember, but also it is a good idea. Yes, it is a good idea to play games that children know and that children like. So we can think about some games that children already play and how we can use those to practice language. So let's move now to the main content. Here are some things to think about. What makes a good language game? A good language game should have a clear learning purpose. Why are the students playing this game? What language are they learning, practicing by playing this game? A good language game should be something that the children want to play. If they don't want to play, it won't work so well, right? It should be relevant for the age group, not too old or not too young. So we must make sure that it's appropriate for the age group. It should give the children an opportunity to work in pairs or in groups. So it's a very collaborative experience, a team experience, yeah? And a good language game should have the students listening to or saying, practicing specific language. So we'll be using different skills, listening, speaking, maybe also some reading. Yeah, okay. So let's have a little look. So we're going to look at a couple of different games. And as we look at these games, I'm going to ask you to stop and think about the learning objectives. Why are the students playing these games? And there's two things we need to think about. Are the learners listening or speaking in this game? So which of those are they practicing? And are they working with individual words like dog, cat, rabbit? Or are they working with language chunks? So language chunks are little groups of 2 or 3 words that go together, like swim like a fish or jump like a kangaroo. So your job is to look at this game and think. Is it about listening or saying? And is it about words or language chunks? So press pause here, read the instructions for the game and answer that question. Okay, let's have a look. So this game is an action game. And what the students are doing here is they are listening to language chunks. Okay, so the game is called Animal Races. The teacher lines the students up, ready for a race. She starts each race with a ready and then gives a command like run like a dog or roll up like a cat, swim like a fish, fly like a bird, etc. And the students try to win the race. So they win the race by doing the action. They know the action because they have listened for the language chunk. Okay, and as you'll see, this comes from the life skill active listening from the year 4, unit 5, lesson 3. So this is the action game. Okay, let's look at another game. And again, I'll ask you to pause, read, and decide. Is it listen or say? And is it words or language chunks? Okay. So this is a miming game. And what the students have to do here is they need to say words. Okay. So the students play a game where they race against one another to guess the names of pets from mimed actions and sounds. Each group places the animal word cards face down in a pile on the desk. The learners take turns to pick a card from the pile without showing it to anyone. The student with the card mimes the action, maybe, and to make the sounds of the animal. The first student in the group to guess the animal, did you say rabbit? I hope so. This student wins the game and keeps the card. So if you said rabbit, I give you my card. Yeah. The student with the most cards at the end of the game is the winner. So this is about practicing speaking and it's individual words. Yeah. So this is the miming game. So we had the action game where the students listen and they do the mime. And then we have the miming game where they look at the mime and then they say the word as fast as they can. Rabbit, dog, cow. Okay. Let's move to the last game. The last game is called My Secret Pet. So again, I'll ask you to pause and think. Do the students need to listen or say? And are they working with words or language chunks? Okay, let's have a look. This is a guessing game. And the students are listening and saying, because they're working in pairs. And they're also working with chunks and words. So well done if you got all 4 of those correct. Yeah. How the game works is students have to pick a pet, a secret pet. So don't tell your partner. They work in pairs and they ask and answer questions. And it's just this question, have you gotta, to guess your partner's secret pet, okay? So I have a pet in my head and you can ask me, have you got a rabbit? Maybe you ask me, have you got a fish? Maybe you ask me, have you got a dog? And I'd say yes. And then I would ask you, okay? So this is listening and saying, chunks and words. So this is the guessing game. So we've had an action game where the students listen and then they move. We've had a miming game where they look at the mime and they say the name of the animal. And we've had a guessing game where they, in pairs, have to listen and say both the chunk, have you got a, and the words, rabbit, cat, bird, etc. Okay. So, as we said, we have these listen and respond games, the action game that we looked at. The teacher says the chunk. These can practice listening to language chunks like swim like a fish. They can also practice listening to individual vocabulary items, so individual words. For example, the teacher says dog, and the children have to do the action. What's the action for a dog? Yeah. Or the children have to make the noise. Woof, woof. So there's an action, the action game. Yeah. In the speaking and listening games, so we have the miming games, the students were saying individual vocabulary items like dog or cat. Yeah. This could be extended to include a language chunk like are you a? Yeah. So are you a or have you got a? Yeah. And then we have the guessing games, asking questions using the language chunks. So have you got a? And this is what we saw with my secret pet. Okay. So now let's think about this game a little bigger. Okay, let's think about how we would set this up in class, because it's important that the instructions are very clear for the children, especially when we have pairs, or as you know, it can be a little crazy. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to invite you now to press pause and think about this, this game, the My Secret Pet game. Think about the words and the language chunks that the children need to know to play this game in English. So press pause and have a think. Okay, let's look together. So the children need to remember and say the names of pets in English. They need to remember dog, cat, fish, bird. Okay. They also need to ask this chunk, this question, have you got a, have you got a, have you got a? And they also need to know how to answer the question. Yes, I have. No, I haven't. Okay. They also need to understand how to play the game. So the turn taking, the picking an animal, secret animal in the beginning. And they also need to concentrate and remember the questions that they have asked and answered. So there's a lot of things for the children to know and do in this game. So how can we help them? We can help them by giving clear instructions. So we have 5 sets of instructions here, A, B, C, D, E, but they're not in the right order. They're a little bit scrambled up. Okay, so press pause, read, and put them in the right order. And there's a hint. Start with B. So B says, let's play a game. We're going to play Guess the Secret Pet. So press pause. Okay, let's have a look at the answers. So here are the answers. So we started with, let's play a game. We're going to play Guess the Secret Pet. And then we moved to D. Who wants to play the game with me? Muna, come and play with me. E. Muna, choose a secret pet from the pictures. Don't show me your pet. Don't point. First, it's my turn to guess. I ask questions and you answer. I can ask 5 questions. If I can't guess, you're the winner. If I guess, I'm the winner. And then A. Okay, now it's your turn to guess. You ask the questions and I'll answer. You ask 5 questions. And then we do it together, me and Muna. And then we finish. Okay, you work in pairs. You're 1, you're 2, you're 1, you're 2, you're 1, you're 2. 1, you choose the secret pet. 2, you try to guess your friend's pet. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to reflect a little bit on these 3 games. We had the action game, the miming game, and the guessing game. Think about which of these games is your favorite and which might be the favorite of your learners. I hope you enjoyed the session and please try these games in your classes. Good luck.